Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 827. And in today's episode, we're talking about, is the world conspiring for us, or is it inspiring against us? Now, I know a lot of people who message out to me sometimes or send emails. They're getting a lot of tension, a lot of stress. They're going through a lot of stuff. And what seems to be showing up is just badness, right? That's just what's showing up. In debt, bad relationships, a lack of opportunity, all of those things. And it definitely does feel like the world is conspiring against us in many, many ways. And I've been there too. And to make it a bit of a realer experience, I've been there in many ways in the past few weeks. So if you didn't know, and this will be hopefully totally fixed and transformed by the time that those who are listening to this on the app or the podcast, but I was just about to release a huge update to the app, which adds all this brand new functionality, from the playlist creation, which will just go through one after the other of the tracks that you put on there, or repeat functionality of the one track, sleep sessions, 4-hour ones, morning meditations, audio programs, a night and a day mode to be able to change the screen brightness and so on. And we're about to launch it. And when I was in England, I got a bill for my server just after a few days usage. And just after a few days, it was $1,600. And I was like, how can it be $1,600 for just a few days? Just started the month, right? It's a brand new month. I asked support, and then it was it was exactly 7 days later did they actually get back to me. So by this time, as you can imagine, it increased significantly in what I was paying for bandwidth. So then I hire a company to look after and develop the app, all these functionalities that have been amazing, by the way. And they look into it, and suddenly we realize that there are all these attackers on our server. So one of my friends said, as an analogy, if you could imagine trying to get onto an off-ramp or onto the highway, and those little slip roads and things like that, and suddenly you got 100 cars trying to get into that one lane, it bottlenecks, right? It bottlenecks the ability to drive on that road. And that's the exact same thing what happens as that analogy, that people or bots try to just overload the system, which meant people could not, number one, use the app because there's just too many people trying to use it, too many people trying to drive on that one single lane. And number two, obviously it was significantly thousands of dollars adding to my bill of their company trying to manage all this, right? Trying to be able to give more web space out and all those things. And I don't know why they did it, or who they are for that matter. But unfortunately, it became to a big inconvenience to those who could not listen to the app because we had to shut down the server. As we speak, it's shut down in terms of when this was broadcasted live on YouTube on Monday, June the 12th, but hopefully by the 13th, 14th, we're all fixed and everything. But it just took down the whole app. And I really wanted to be able to do something special. I wanted to help people with this app. So sometimes I felt like in that brief moment, being human, because I was also very under the weather, high temperature, congestion, all these things, having been unwell, having this news that people getting all these emails, I can't use your app. Where is my app? Where are my purchases? A lot of hate, or not some hateful, but some bad negative reviews, or people going, obviously wanting their stuff, and I couldn't help them. Right? That was one of the hardest things. It was not about me, it's about wanting to help people. That's why I do what I do. So in moments I felt, why is this happening to me? Because on the one hand, I spent a ton of money to get these features going and these new titles. I spent a lot of money on the servers just going up by 600-700, literally 600-800% of what my server cost was going to then people not get it. And I felt like, well, the world is conspiring against me in brief moments. But what I like to do is be able to think differently. And I was talking about this on a far deeper level on my group coaching call just a couple of days ago. But what if this happened 5 years from now, where hopefully we've got tens of millions of users who are getting free help and using the tracks? Think of the logistical nightmare. So maybe this thing happened to prepare me for something better. Now immediately I'm thinking, well, it's easier to fix this now, in this moment, in comparison from a few years away. So maybe it's a good opportunity. Now there's not letting those people off the hook. I'm not saying thank you whatsoever in that case, but I'm going to see the positive no matter how much negativity or people try to do negative things toward me. Because the one thing I've always known is that people can try to change your state and do things to you. The environment might be showing up with lots of negativity, lots of reasons why I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Maybe I should give up. Like the world might be showing me that at my present observation of it. But one thing the environment can never do is change my own emotional state, right? I'm in charge of my state of mind. I might not be able to change the state of the world. I might not be able to change the state of the economic situation. I might not be able to change the state of something's not showing up, or my boss being an idiot, or my being in a relationship where I've got this person being mean to me. I can't maybe stop their actions, but I can be in charge of my state of mind. And it always goes back to that quote from Viktor Frankl, which is no matter, oh my goodness, I can't, my fuzzy head still. What is this quote? I say it all the time as well. It'll come back to me. But when we're unable to change the situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. See, when you say it'll come back to me, it usually does. When you're unable to change the situation, you're challenged to change yourself. So I immediately had to realize that this shall pass. Like, it's not going to happen forever. They might try to break my server. They're not going to break my spirit, right? They're not going to break my vision. They might try to do all these things, but I'm always still going to be here because I've got a reason for being here, in my opinion. I want to help people. So it shall pass. And on top of that, I'm in control of my state. And on top of that, maybe it's just preparing me. It's protecting me for something even bigger. That's a far better way of seeing it. I could easily go into, why am I investing this money into an app where people are trying to destroy it, or it's just too much hard work, or people fill in the blank, right? It's easy to buy into the reasons. It's easy to have a get out, right? It's easier to let myself off the hook. But that doesn't change anything. Number one, it doesn't change my state of happiness because I'm staying the same. Might relieve a bit of stress immediately, but the unfulfilled dream or desire to help is going to be far more painful if I gave up. Now, by the way, side note, I know people are going through far worse things than I've gone through this past week. So I'm not trying to negate that. Some people are going through horrendous situations right now. So I want to put it into, that's another thing, right? Another perspective change, and more of a reframe it. There are far more people in the world who have harder issues. So I shouldn't be getting down on myself for this issue, which is fixable, which is able to be overcome. So that was one of the things which kind of came into my mind as well. Like what, and that's why I said, well, what's the worst that can happen? It's never going to be the worst, in my opinion. Like it's not going to be something which finishes me as a person in terms of me living here. They're not going to dictate that. They can throw all the stuff at their servers, but I get to still breathe on my terms. So having that perception kind of made me go, well, why am I doing what I'm doing? because I want to help people. So why give up? Why, why not keep investing? Because that means we get to make the world a better place together. I always love the sentence of leave the world in a better place than you found it. So when I do eventually leave this world, and I say eventually, hopefully it's not a long, long time, but I want to be looking back in those final moments going, well, did I leave something in a way that actually served? Like, was I of service? Did I help people the best that I could? Leaving the world in a better place. So that's my why, really. That's why I want to help. Like, I've always had like the mantra in my own mind as something that I came up with was just enlighten the illusionary darkness, there is only love. I'm the everlasting moment. I am love. Like, I want to live that way. Even in this human experience, I want to live up to that standard. And it's hard to live up to those standards at times because we are human and things happen. But just because they happen, it doesn't mean we have to change. We can evolve through this. And you might be going, well, Joseph, I don't have the reason, the why to have an app, right? I don't have a reason to be able to do hypnosis. Well, think about it. What are the other reasons as to why we want what we want? Now, for some people, because maybe they want to do it for their children. They want to look back and see their children go, wow, Mom, Dad was awesome. They went through this. They grew from this. So maybe your reason, your why is your children or grandchildren. Maybe it's your pets. Maybe it's because you've got a passion. You've got something that you really want to do. Maybe it's to, not in a negative way, but to be able to prove those people who said you couldn't do anything, that you can do something, that you can do what you want. You see, other people's opinions does not have to be your reality. Other people's throwing stones at you doesn't mean that you should just recoil and just not do what has to be done. You'll notice the greatest transformations throughout history are not done in peaceful times. It is usually when there is conflict or confusion that I think births this desire to evolve, this desire to have innovation. So not to say that we want to welcome stress, but if it is there, utilize it. Go, well, this is going to prepare me for something bigger and better. What can I learn from this that once I learn from will allow me to be safer in the future? What can I learn from this present experience that once learned will allow me to be safer in the future? You see, when you say sentences like that, you're saying, I don't need the anger, the sadness, the fear, the guilt, the hurt, the shame. I want to learn. The learnings will protect me. Those emotions try to protect us, and sometimes we need to work through them, not dismiss them by any means or any idea, but to learn with them and through them. So if you can learn from your pain, if you can learn from what is showing up in your world and realize that, look, this will pass. It will pass. That maybe it is preparing you for something greater. That if you can learn from it will allow you to be safer. To consider why you're doing what you're doing. Because if you have a goal and dream, whether it be to change your circumstance, monetary-wise, relationship-wise, career-wise, health-wise, or whether it be a state of mind like the I am not good enough, the I am not worthy, which can obviously have an impact on all of those areas. But when you have that reason, think about it. Why are we doing this? Because we want a greater sense of peace, love, achievement. We want to be able to have, you can change the words if you want, but to leave that legacy, a trail of things that you may have done will hopefully inspire people around you. You see, when you change, you do change those around you because you are an example of what can be done. So once again, and on top of that, knowing that also my present situation is not the worst situation. A lot of people would more than happy take your problem to let go of their problem. So putting things into perspective, learning from it, figuring out your why has really helped me, because that means I cannot lose. I win. I have a belief system that no matter what, I will win. And I don't say that from ego, that I'm not going to allow other people to cause me to so-called fail, because if I learn from it, how can I fail? Therefore, I'm always going to win no matter what. I will win. And if you even have that as your mantra, that you're going to win, you're going to get through this, you're going to do whatever it takes. Yeah, there are going to be some dark times, and maybe you want to plug into your community or ask for help or get help with your mindset. It's not a journey that you've got to do it alone. And I don't even do this alone. I was talking to my dad about this. I was talking to my brother about this. Because we're pretty close like that when it comes to my business, and I have people I can speak to, and I think that's really important, to find people. Even on our group coaching call at the end of it yesterday, despite feeling unwell, I felt compelled to be there still, because we were connecting on such a deep heart level for well over 30, it was probably just under 30 minutes or just over 30 minutes of us connecting with each other and talking. It made us feel seen, heard, and felt. So expressing your present issue can make you feel seen, heard, and felt. So that's why I want to talk about this today, just to give you a context that, life will throw things at you, but ultimately you're in charge of your state of mind. Maybe you're not present external state, or is what's showing up, but you are in control of your state of mind. Now, it can take time to do that. It's not easy to go, well, I'm going to just be super confident through this. Sometimes we've got to learn those skills or let go of the limiting beliefs to be able to get to that place. That's what I did. That's why I do what I'm doing right now, because I've been through the pain, learned how to overcome it, and now I teach people how to do the exact same thing. In my main 8-week program, it's fully tailored and customized. But of course, you can use the app. There's also other podcasts, other books, all of those things. But just recognize within yourself that you have the innate ability to adapt. That is built within you. Thankfully, you don't get to decide on that. Your physiology, your neurology was built for adaptation. You've got over many flus and coughs and colds. You've healed your body from cuts. The body is continuously producing and reproducing itself over certain weeks, months, and years, continuously. You're a whole different person from you were 7 weeks ago or a whole year ago. Biologically, it is always replicating itself. So you are built to win in many ways. You're built to grow and innovate and adapt. Throughout history, throughout your past, what's the word I'm looking for, but through your genealogy, throughout all the family tree, going way back hundreds and thousands of years, you were here because of the ability to adapt, to grow, to change. But it comes not just from that biology, but it comes from your conscious awareness of it as well. So put things in perspective. It's not the worst. It shall pass. You can use it as a preparation tool, because maybe if it happened in 5 years, like I said in my app, it'd be a logistical nightmare. Now it's a lot more manageable. It's still painful because I've got to do all these things, especially when I was unwell. But in comparison, I'm happy it happened now compared to when in the future. And it won't happen now because we've implemented the new tools, the new ability to combat these things, so it won't have an effect. So put things in perspective. Know that you're more, that you're in charge of your state. No one gets to dictate that. Sometimes they try to manipulate it, but just because they try to manipulate it doesn't mean you have to stand up for it. Find your why. Find your reason why you're doing this. Go back to that. Because when you're pushing through, it's hard, but then you go back, actually, this is why I'm doing this. It gives you that extra edge and motivation. So I hope you got value from this episode, just imparting what I've been going through, just kind of thinking about it, putting into perspective, because I'm always having to work on myself. It is, life is a journey of growth and things will happen. But hopefully you get some value from this and get the help that you desire and deserve, because you absolutely do deserve it in every way. I believe in you so much. No one's gonna stop us. We have so much more to give, that no one can take that away from us, no matter what endeavor, right? No matter what endeavor. So with that, I look forward to speaking to you on a future episode. Many thanks and goodbye.